Grace is not something that responds to how well you perform. It is not something that increases as effort increases. It is not something that fluctuates based on how consistent you are. It is where you stand, already given, already established. And that changes the reference point completely, because now the question is no longer, how am I doing? It becomes, where am I standing? And that question does not lead to effort, it leads to clarity. Because standing is not something you gradually achieve through movement. It is something that must be understood as already true. And when that becomes clear, the pressure that once defined everything begins to lose its place. Not because something new was added, but because something real was finally seen for what it is. And that is where everything begins to shift. Because standing is not something that develops over time. It is not something that becomes more true as effort increases. And it is not something that stabilizes as behavior improves. It is either clear or it is not. And if it is not clear, then everything else will feel like it has to be maintained. That is why effort becomes constant. Not because people want it to be, but because nothing underneath it feels fully settled. So the mind stays engaged, the attention stays active. There is always something to correct, something to improve, something to watch. But when standing is clear, that entire structure begins to change, not all at once, and not in a way that draws attention to itself, but in a way that actually holds. Because now the stability is not coming from what is being done, it is coming from what is already established. And that removes the need for constant management. It removes the need to keep everything aligned through effort. It removes the sense that something could fall apart at any moment if attention slips. Because what you are standing on does not depend on how well you are maintaining it. It does not shift when you shift. It does not weaken when you feel weak. It does not improve when you perform better. It remains. And that is what changes the experience. Because now, instead of trying to secure something through movement, you are resting in something that is already secure. And from that place, movement is no longer driven by pressure. It becomes something entirely different. The difference is found in what is understood as already true. Because if that is unclear, then everything else continues to carry weight it was never meant to carry. Even when things look improved, even when there is visible progress, there is still something underneath it that does not feel completely settled. But when that becomes clear, the entire structure begins to shift in a way that does not depend on effort, not suddenly, and not in a way that draws attention to itself, but in a way that actually holds. Because now, the starting point is different. It is no longer based on what needs to be done. It is based on what is already established. And that changes how everything moves from that point forward. Because standing is no longer something in question. It is no longer something being worked toward. It is understood as already true. And when that is the case, movement no longer carries the same pressure. It no longer needs to produce something. It no longer needs to secure something. It is not trying to hold something together. It is moving from something that is already settled. That is why the order matters. Standing comes first, not eventually, not as the result of progress, but first.